This podcast is brought to you in association with Smart Energy GB. Save time, make your business more efficient, and take control of your business's energy spend by upgrading to a smart meter. Contact your energy supplier or find out more at www.smartenergygb.org.
Welcome to this latest edition of the FSB Podcast, the go-to podcast for news, tips and important information for small businesses and the self-employed. This episode will look at the current pressing issue for small businesses of rising energy costs, and we'll explore whether smart meters can help you reduce your energy costs, as well as offering some other practical tips and guidance for you to reduce those costs in other ways. To discuss this topic, I'm pleased to say I'm joined by Fflur Lawton, Head of Policy and Public Affairs at Smart Energy GB, who are supporting the smart meter rollout, and Fflur will talk us through the topic as well as providing some practical guidance for small businesses on wider energy issues. Fflur, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's good to have you here. Let's start just by explaining exactly what smart meters are, shall we? Because a lot of people have heard about them, but probably don't quite understand exactly what they are.
Yeah, absolutely. So put really simply, smart meters are digital versions of our traditional gas and electricity meters. They're being installed in homes and businesses across Great Britain as part of a massive infrastructure upgrade to our energy system. And that digital bit is really important because as the smart meters measure your energy, and they do that in near real time, they also automatically send that information, your meter readings, direct to your energy supplier. That's done at intervals agreed with you, and it's sent via a secure national communications network that's been developed specifically for smart meter rollout. That data is the really critical bit. That's the really important information that's being sent. And what that means is that information being sent to your energy supplier means that you get an accurate bill. So it's an end to estimated bills, and it's an end to you having to, go and find your meter and do your meter readings and things like that. So that information goes automatically. As well as that, smart meters give you access to data on your energy use and make it visible in a way that we've never had before. It's really difficult for people to understand actually how much energy they're using and how much that's costing them. And smart meters and that data give you a visibility, help make you more aware, help you to understand how much energy you're using, when you're using it, where you're using it. And that means that you can then make decisions and small changes that can help you become more energy efficient, can help you reduce your energy spend and potentially save money on your energy bills as well. So it's really important as a consumer, I think, to have that visibility, to have that understanding of energy.
And can all businesses get a smart meter?
Many businesses can. It does depend sort of on the size of your business, how much energy you use, where you're based. The best thing to do is to speak to your energy supplier or your broker about that and make sure that you're eligible and that everything's okay to go. But yeah, the majority of businesses can get them.
And how does that work if, for example, you rent your premises? So, you're using a building that isn't yours. You're able to bring a smart meter in, are you? How does that work?
So if you rent your premises, but your name is on the energy bill, then you can ask your supplier to install a smart meter, or they may contact you directly as well to offer one. What I would say is if you are renting, I would check with your landlord that any changes to your meter are allowed within your rental contract. Again, it does depend on your contract there. But most landlords are quite happy with that, as long as they understand sort of what you're doing and why you're doing it. There is plenty of information on the Smart Energy GB website about this. We've even got a template letter that you can send to your landlord as well that explains what and why and what will happen. On the flip side, if your landlord is the one named on the energy bill, then they are the ones who would need to request, and it's worth having a chat with them to see whether they'd be willing to put smart meters in your building.
Okay, you touched on this a little bit in your sort of intro piece, but how exactly can smart meters help small businesses take control of their energy use?
So it is about that increasing awareness, increasing understanding of how much energy your business is using. It helps you to be a bit more in control of what your costs are, or, knowing what your costs are going to be as well. So I think that's really important. And understanding that and understanding how you're using stuff can, help you to make your business more efficient. So we had a hairdresser's local to me. I'm in South Wales, local to me in Cardiff, and they found it really useful to have their smart meter, to have that data alongside it, to actually understand what they were using. So they found that a lot of their appliances were left on, and things like the water boiler, things like that. All of that is adding up, adding costs, particularly right now, that we don't need to pay for. So if you can use it to actually identify where you're potentially wasting energy, or there is stuff that you can tweak to really help your business, then that's really important right now.
So they can help businesses save money on their energy costs, can they?
I mean, it's not a silver bullet. Energy costs are really high. They are likely to stay high for a while. What smart meters can do is support you, as business owners, to better understand your energy use and to make changes where it's possible for you. All businesses are different, we know that, but if you can look at actually how you're using energy and are there ways that you could save on that, then that's brilliant. If you get a smart meter and you don't make any changes, then your bill will remain the same. It's not going to do you any harm. What you do get in addition are accurate bills and an end to having to send those meter readings to your energy supplier.
Okay, and does that, actually make a difference to businesses' energy use? You've talked a bit about the sort of theory behind this, but are there sort of, statistics, is there insights that tell us just what an impact they might or might not have?
So, yeah, we do quite a lot of research around this and asking people sort of have they changed their behaviours, what difference does it make? And our research is showing us that businesses with smart meters are more likely to actively manage their energy use and are more likely to have used the information that they're getting from their smart meter in the last 6 months to actually make changes around their business as well. So whether that's things like reviewing working habits, to reduce the need for energy, or changing lighting and things like that to be more energy efficient. And other studies we've done as well, showing that sort of over 3/4 of small businesses with a smart meter say they're now more conscious about their business energy use, which has led to an estimated monthly saving of about £32, which over a year, is a sizable sum. So there are other possibilities there. As I say, the research is showing that people like this information, that they want to be able to use this, and it is actually making a difference in what they're doing.
Okay, and are there other benefits to smart meter use for small businesses, beyond accurate and automated meter readings and those sort of potential cost savings?
I mean, from a sustainability point of view, we hear about net zero a lot. We know that we need to be more conscious in terms of how we're using our energy and what we do. And the smart meter rollout and the sort of flexible energy system that it's supporting are, really important tools in our journey to getting to net zero. And sort of research by Delta EE and energy consultancy have shown that without smart meters, meeting our net zero target will be more expensive, it'll be slower and less well coordinated. Basically, it's the data from smart meters, as I keep saying, that information is really important. It shows networks and energy suppliers, when and where we're using our energy. It helps us to better manage peaks and troughs in that energy system, which means that we can look at sort of how we improve balancing supply and demand. And it means that we can integrate more renewable sources of energy into that system. So, things like solar, wind energy, which are all quite intermittent. So they're more difficult to control than your traditional fossil fuels. But the data from smart meters really helps the energy system to do that and to be able to integrate them. So it means that, we get more local, homegrown, renewable energy into the system, and that it helps us get towards net zero and helps us improve our energy security as well in the long term, which I think is really important right now.
Yeah, and look, like climate change is a global issue, right? But, small businesses can make a difference, right?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Small businesses, they are the backbone of the UK economy. We know that they represent over sort of 99%, I think, of all businesses in the UK. So if every small business made a small change, the combined impact of that is absolutely huge. And smart meters they're a simple step for businesses to make in doing this. So, it is something that all businesses can do to help them sort of contribute to this journey too.
Yeah, and I want to broaden this out into some wider tips and guidance for small businesses in terms of managing energy use, and particularly in the period we're fast approaching. But just before we do, where can businesses go to find out more about smart meters specifically?
So if you go to our website at smartenergygb.org, you'll find there is a small business hub on our website as well that contains all the information that you need around smart meters for businesses.
That's great. And look, you're here to not just talk about smart meters, but also some of the wider guidance and tactics that small businesses can use this winter as we're heading into the cold snap and rising energy costs are ongoing. What's your advice for small businesses as we approach winter?
I mean, it is a really difficult time. We know that. We've done, again, some research on this, and we found that 92% of small business owners are really concerned about how they'll manage the rising cost of living for the rest of 2022, let alone sort of looking towards next year as well. And I think that's, that is a real challenge. It is a real worry for people right now. I don't think there's an easy answer. I think a lot depends on the type of business you have, how much energy do you need to run your business, what are the different things that you can do to really help that business. But there are a range of things that you can do, ranging from small sort of inexpensive things to, greater investments as well that can help with costs. I mean, for me, one of the key things is understanding your energy use. You can't start to save on your energy spend unless you know how and where you're using it. Smart meters can help with that, obviously, but you could also get an energy audit done. You could go a bit more detailed and actually have a look at what your business is using, when's it using, what are you wasting, and how can you change that. And there are sort of services provided, either sometimes free of charge through energy suppliers, but also through local authorities as well. There are different services there available for business. I think one of the we've been out and asked businesses actually what do they do as well, and one of the areas that people often come back on is around lighting. And, looking at sort of what sort of lighting you're using in your business, how you're using it. And, lighting can be a big expense for businesses. Up to about 40% of their energies could actually go on lighting. So lots of businesses have already switched to LEDs, which is great. But if you haven't, it's really worth considering that investment, because they use about 75% less energy than the sort of old incandescent bulbs, which is great in itself. But even when you've got LED lights, then switching those off, thinking about actually when you're using them, as simple things as the kind of things, we all get shouted at, or I shout at various children or whatever, to make sure that they remember to do that. It's a very visible thing that we can all do as well. And that sort of turning things off and that turning things off standby, we've heard a lot about it, but I know a lot of people still don't do it. Almost all electrical appliances still use energy when they're in standby mode. So if you can turn off things like printers, your monitors, your laptops, things like that, you'll save. It's only small amounts of money, but it does accumulate. And the more you can do of little things like that, I think is really important. I suppose the last one, and this differs between summer and winter, is climate control as well within your business. So, in the summer, if you're keeping your aircon on all day, it can really add up in your energy bill. And then in the winter, having the temperature just 1 degree more than you need can increase your energy spend by about 8%. So all of these things, thinking about actually how you're using your energy, how you are keeping warm, absolutely, we all need to do that. But other ways that you can look at different things, whether it's as simple as shutting the doors, getting rid of the drafts, things like that keep us warmer without having to crank the heating up, they all come in useful. So there are lots and lots of information out there, from different organisations that can help with things like this as well. And I think talking to peers and other business owners, I think is, sharing that best practice and ideas is a really good move as well.
Yeah, some really good practical tips and guidance for small businesses on how to manage their energy use a little bit better. A lot of them will still be worried, Fflur, about their energy bills. Do you have further sort of tips and guidance on what they can do if they're still worried about those?
Yeah, I think there are simple things that you can do, and to make sure that you do them quite quickly as well. So, if you get a bill from your energy supply that you're really worried about and that you don't know whether you can afford it, don't ignore it. Your energy supply could be disconnected within sort of 30 days if you don't make arrangements to deal with that debt. So it's really important to act quickly. Your energy supplier, it's worth speaking to them. They may be able to offer you some support or look at different repayment plans as well. Try and think about your budget before you make that call, because I think it's really important that you're comfortable in knowing sort of what you can afford to pay. For a small sort of micro business, that's sort of 10 employees or under, you can only be billed for energy that you've used in the last 12 months. So, if you're being back billed for longer than that, you need to speak to your supplier again and say, well, hang on, I'm a small business. This is, I should only be billed for that year, for the 12 months of energy. I mean, either, sending in regular meter readings, so you are keeping up with that. I think that's really important, or getting yourself a smart meter that does that automatically for you as well is really important. So again, that you're getting accurate bills and that you're not sort of running into debt that way. There is Citizens Advice have a consumer helpline. They can really help you understand your bill and your tariff as well, and give you sort of unbiased information about what your rights are as well. Or there is also the Business Debt-line. They've got an online web chat and a phone line as well. Again, is independent advice that you can get from them. So I think the key message is, try and deal with this quickly. Don't sit on it. It's not worth it. Have those discussions as early as you can.
Fflur, that's really brilliant. Thank you so much for walking us through that really topical issue of energy bills and how smart meters can help small businesses. I think that will help a lot of our small business owners and members as they look to manage their energy costs, not just throughout the winter, but in the longer term. I'd also like to thank our audience for listening to this episode, and to remind you that you can subscribe to the FSB podcast to receive regular updates and guidance on the big issues affecting small businesses. And do please also remember that you can find a whole host of additional webinars, podcasts and other content at the First Voice website at firstvoice.fsb.org.uk and on the FSB website at fsb.org.uk. Many thanks indeed.
This podcast is brought to you in association with Smart Energy GB. Save time, make your business more efficient and take control of your business's energy spend by upgrading to a smart meter. Contact your energy supplier or find out more at www.smartenergygb.org.